Hello everyone, and welcome back to my shop. Boy, it's a hot one today. Here we are, what, mid-August? And man, it's bad. It's hot bad. Got fans going everywhere. One of these days when I grow up, I'm going to have an air-conditioned shop. But until then, it's fans. So anyway, so what are we doing today? Okay, well, I'm talking to you Corvette C3 owners with power windows. Have you ever had one of your windows go down and not come back up? The other one works, but one of them doesn't. Well, this 75 Corvette, this C3 75, I'm having a problem with the passenger side window. Apparently, it all started when I took my lovely missus out on a ride with me, and she put it all the way down, and she likes to play with switches too. Buttons, switches, she'll punch them. Well, I got jammed down, and I ended up taking the door card off and using jumper cables straight direct from the battery to the motor to unjam it and get it to raise and lower, and it did great for about a week or so. Did it again. Well, I took the door card off again and unjammed it and thought, well, why am I getting jammed like this? Well, I've got the side, plate on, the inspection plate or service plate, whatever you want to call it. And I'm thinking, man, what could be? Well, I started noticing that raising and lowering, it was going a lot slower. So I don't know or think it's actually in the motor or the plate or that it's going down too far. I kind of think there's a lack of voltage problem or current. So I'm going to try a few things before I tear that door card off for the third time in about 3 weeks, and see if this little trick I'm going to try will do it. So stay tuned, and let's troubleshoot a power window that won't raise back up. What I'm going to do is start it up and turn it around so I got the passenger side over on this side. All right, I think it's the switch. So I'm going to troubleshoot that first, and I'm going to have to get to it. So I'm going to take the rear console part off and go from there. All right, here I got the console off, and this just unplugs from the switch that's right there, okay?
So this is the passenger side. First off, what I want to do is make sure I'm getting voltage to it. All right. So I'm going to turn my ignition key on. All right, key's on. See if my radio comes up. There it is. All right, I've got the my voltage tester here. I got him grounded to the shifter. Whoop. Turn the radio down, and I believe it will be this center connector. Let's see. And it is. So I've got voltage to it. Now, I'm going to read how much voltage. I got my meter here. Generally, just verifying you got voltage is enough, but I want to see what kind of voltage I'm getting. All right, where's my ground? Right here. And we're getting 11.94. I think my battery, I think I might have to replace this battery, but that's not the problem, because I've been having to charge it if I let it sit a couple days. So anyway, that should be sufficient. All right, now what I'm going to do is make a jumper and see if I can't jump her around to which switch here is the, we'll raise it. So be right back. All right, before I do the voltage jumper, I'm going to test the switch. You see I got my common lead, alligator clip going on my negative of my meter here. All right, let's move him up here. All right, and I guess the lights, there we go. So I've got the common there. I'm going to go here to this. First off, I'll just touch them and see what a dead short will be. All right, 0.8. All right, so we'll say 0.8 is a dead short. All right, so we'll go to this terminal here. All right, you see up there, let's see what we get. All right, that's the raised position. I got 0.9, so that's close to a 0.8, so that's close to a short. All right, let's go over to the other terminal now, right there. And this is down 1. All right, lit up 1. Okay, so there's a little bit of resistance there. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull that switch, but I wanted to read that first, so it looks like it is operational. All right, so what I've got, so down makes to here, so that means that this whole, if I put power here at this center connector to there, that drops it, so to here should raise it. So all right, let's see if I can do this one-handed. All right, I got my jumper in there on the common, turning my key on. All right, let's make sure the radio comes on so I know I got voltage. And let's see if I can force this to come up like this. Ooh, no sir. He did not like that. Well, be right back. All right, I've got a jumper here. This heavier gauge wire. I've got it going to the positive terminal of the battery, okay? Now I've got my orange jumper wire plugged into the raise position of the window, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 12 volts straight off the battery, and I'm going to take it straight to that window and watch and see what happens. All right, here we go. All right, we're touching it. All right, see that? I might do a current draw test. The window is now up. All right, we're touching. All right, see that? I might do a current draw test. The window is now up. Now I'm going to drop it by switching my jumper to the drop connector of the window switch. there you go. So what does that tell me? Could be a switch, could be the voltage feed to it. Could be that the window motor is so worn that it's drawing too much current. I don't know if I can find the specs on that. I may look it up. I'm going to see if I can hook my meter up and read the current flow through that and see how much current it's drawing. I'll be back. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and remove that switch. Trying to be like the pros do it. All right. Him and him. Where'd that other nut go? Fell down there in the no man's land, probably. All right. All right. And there's that switch. All right. Here's him. I'm going to attempt to take him apart, see what I can do with him. All right, here's the schematic, and here's the power window schematic right here, this section. All right, this top wire here, which goes through a fuse, that is your key switch power on, and it goes over to your relay through the windings, through the can to ground. So anytime power is turned on the this lead, which is anytime the key's turned on, it energizes this relay. All right. This other lead is a hot battery lead that also goes to the through a fuse, and that goes through the normally open set of contacts in this relay. So this would be the actual, where this top one is the control voltage, this bottom one is the power voltage. This is actually the voltage that raises and lowers the window that goes to the motor. So with the ignition off, the high power, we'll call it the high power lead, comes and it sits on that normally open contact. Turn the key on, energizes the relay, power goes through the contact, down through this lead, and it hits a junction right here. That junction goes up to the left-hand window switch, the common terminal, and it goes down to the right-hand window switch on the common terminal. So with key switch on, you got voltage sitting at both switches. So whatever position you go, either up or down, either one will apply voltage out to the motor, either to the raise position or to the lower position. Same with this one here. All right. Since my driver's side worked and didn't have a problem, I knew that both these fuses were good, and I also knew that this relay was good, or I would not be able to raise and lower the window. How you know if you have no window operation, neither one works, you got two fuses to check, and you have that relay right there, the power window relay. All right, so that's the things you would check. In my case, I had power to the driver's side, so I knew my fuses were good, and I knew my relay was good. It was pretty much isolated to the passenger side, and that's where I found the problem with the connector to the switch. All right, so there you go. All right, let's turn the key on. Let's test it. All right, passenger side. Driver's side. and my ammeter does deflect when both operate. So it looks like we're back in business again. Well, all right, I believe we got it in business now. Unfortunately, I thought I had recorded attempting to take the switch apart, and I didn't. When I tried to take it apart, I believe it's OEM, and when I went to bend the tabs back to open it up, one of them partially broke, and I got paranoid about completely bending all of them. So what I did is I cleaned up the contacts, and I took and read my continuity between the common and the up pin and the down pin, and I got basically a short. I got less than 0.1 ohm between the common and the two contacts. So I'm pretty sure that the switch is okay. So I cleaned the external of it up, and I put it back in. And I thought I recorded reinstalling it in the rear console here, and I didn't. Again, I thought it was recording, and but it wasn't. Oh well. So got it in real easy. For 6 bolts, you know, and you just line everything up, pop them up, screw them in. Now, the problem ended up being, this is what I think the problem ended up being. I think the connector to the window switch had worked itself loose. I mean, the only thing that was holding it up onto the switch was actual crimp connections. And those crimps were somewhat loose, and I think it worked its way loose to the point where it made it intermittent, and then it made, and then it hit a point where maybe a bump, who knows? Wow, it just totally disconnected, and I lost full control of the window. I know that since the driver's side window worked, I knew the problem was not with the common parts like the battery voltage, the power window relay, or the wire, or the fuses, because the driver's side worked. So I took a gamble. I decided this time I wasn't going to pull the door card off. I was going to start at the switch and work that way. And it ended up I found the problem at the switch. So anyway, it looks like the switches made, there's a metal frame that they connect to, you know, in the console here. Looks like they were either pop riveted or they had little nuts and bolts. In either case, a Bubba from years ago has totally got rid of that, so I have no idea how the switches were connected into that metal frame. Being a retired telephone man, I always believe that tie wraps can do anything. So I tie wrapped the switches to the frame, and then I tie wrapped the connector to the switch, so neither one can come loose now. And those tie wraps, they'll hold. I mean, I went back on jobs 30 years later, and those tie wraps I put on were still holding fine, you know, in a vibration type environment. But anyway, tie wraps, or zip ties, some of y'all might call them. We call them ties, which is the brand name. It's kind of like calling a brush hog a bush hog. Same thing, right? And anyway, so we got it in there. Everything's working good. I even went and picked my grandson up from middle school and got him home. He always wants me to pick him up on in the vet, and even though it's 94 degrees outside, no air, he'd rather be in this than my air-conditioned truck. Go figure. It's nice to be young and bulletproof again, right? Right. But anyway, there we go. We got it. I also want to point out that I was able to do this troubleshooting and getting that passenger side window working without pulling that door card this time. So that's a victory in itself. Basically, I had a hunch it was in the switch or the wiring to that particular switch, and I wanted to go through all those steps before I pulled that door card off for the 4th time. These door cards are in bad shape, and I need to replace them. I've seen there's an upholstery dealer somewhere that they've dropped their website, and, but they're still on Facebook, and they do a reupholstery, and they do some nice custom
door cards. I may check into that, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I wanted to point out that in this case, I was able to troubleshoot and fix a power window problem without taking the door card off. All right. Well, all right. Well, it's past a day-long test, so we'll see if it lasts longer. This is the fourth time I've gone after the same problem on that door. All the 3 previous times, I pulled the door card off and unjammed it that way. This time I said, you know, there's got to be something else wrong. So we went at it through the switch side, and that ended up being the fix. I think having a low battery under 12 volt also contributed to the problem. I'm going to have to replace this battery. My key switch is a little flaky, and sometimes I like to leave it neutral so I can roll it back and forth. If I do that and I don't get that switch all the way turned off, it'll stay on even though I'm not getting any display on the radio, and it drains my battery. Well, it was plumb dead the other day. So I've been recharging it slowly, and I think I may have it fully charged now. We'll see. If it acts up again, I'll know I'll just have to replace the battery. That was the battery that was in it when I traded for it, so I don't have any idea how old the thing is anyway. So I think we had a low battery. We had a loose intermittent connection that finally went totally off, and that's why it died. So if you found this video via a search, troubleshooting your own, you might want to start at the switch first and not go to the door panel just first thing. It's a lot easier to go at the switch first. Let me tell you, the door panel can be a pain sometimes. But it's up to how you want to do it. If one window's working and the other one isn't, go after the switch. If everything's not working, we'll go after the fuse or the circuit breaker. I incorrectly labeled the power lead as having a fuse when actually it's a circuit breaker. So anyway, hope everything's going good with you and yours. Everything's going good here. Can't complain. Won't do me no good to complain anyway. Just carry on and take care of that business. So have a good one, and I hope to see you around on the next one. See you. Bye.